Well, that was fucking shit. That was the most ridiculous interruption in a footy season that hopefully all of us will ever see for the rest of our lives. 3 months, whatever it was, it's been everything. But the main point is we're back this week. Carlton, Melbourne at the MCG, Saturday afternoon, 4:35 p.m. And you know it's so sweet. It's so sweet to have it back. It's so good to be talking about this stuff again. A lot of unknown, I must say, a lot of unknown in so many different areas. There's so many variables that come into this week with players returning and what the break has meant for these teams, who's done the work, who hasn't done the work. I think one thing's for sure, by the end of round 2, we'll have a much better idea as to where our boys are heading, where they're going, and I guess from the league as well, because I think this will be a bit of an experimental phase for us as a club, for the league, for the sport. But goodness me, it's just good to be here again. Let's get right into it. So, you know, the D's, where are they at? And this is coming from my point of view and where I've seen them. We know that in 2018 they had a phenomenal year. But if you go back even before then, we sort of had this, it wasn't a rivalry, but it doesn't feel like it was so long ago that Carlton and Melbourne were sort of one of the next 2 up-and-coming teams, you know, with the youth on the list. And obviously they've gone on to reach heights that we haven't yet. They had a fantastic 2018. They played this super style of footy, counter-attack footy. You turn the ball over and they're able to move the ball really quickly. Last year was a disaster, and that's the sticking point for me. For me, when I listen to Melbourne rhetoric, I watched that little 3-part doco series that they created. When I hear Simon Goodwin talk, when I heard the players talk last year, there was always this sense of, oh, you know, we've just had it's just been a terrible year, you know, so unlucky, and there's just a little bit of maybe it's not unaccountability, but I just heard the excuses, even with the title of the documentary, To Hell and Back. Like, shut up. That's sort of my interpretation of what I'm seeing from Melbourne. So for that reason, and why it's relevant for this week's game, is that I just don't know which Melbourne is going to show up, and that might be a sentiment that Melbourne supporters feel as well. I know it's a sentiment that we as Carlton supporters feel. So for that reason, it's a game where it could go either way. Initially, when I saw the fixture, I thought, "Ooh, Melbourne, no, I'm backing them in to play good footy this year." But I guess as round 2 approaches and as game day approaches, you know, you always make a case for why you can win. Now, I don't look at this as a clear cut, let's just stay within X amount of goals of Melbourne. You know, I go into this game thinking we can win this game. We should be winning this game. I think any game that you can win, you should win. Obviously, we look at Richmond, we look at Collingwood, we look at going to Geelong as one of those, yes, obviously winnable, but not as much as what I look at this game. I think we match up well with them. I think when you look at what we didn't have in round 1 compared to what we have now, Harry's back. He's a focal point of what we do. I believe Eddie Betts will be back as well. He's also going to be very important for the work that gets done at ground level. And, you know, he's going to be able to generate energy and, you know, whether it be a goal or a goal assist, whatever it is. When Eddie's around, things are happening and he's a smart footballer. So I think the way that we moved the ball forward in round 1, save for the first quarter, it just needed a forward there. It needed a healthy forward line there. And obviously when you're missing, you know, 3 of your best 4 forwards there, you're getting the ball in, but it's just you're not getting that end product. So I think that's going to be helped a lot with Harry and Eddie coming back. We know Cruz is not going to play, so I would say Mark Pittonet gets the job. That's what he was brought in to do. He's had a great, I guess, upbringing in his AFL career, having worked with Jack Russell for so many years now. And so I would expect him to come in. Obviously, a really big ask of him. You know, Max Gawn, one of the best ruckmen in the competition, if he's not the best. So I don't expect to be winning that role on the ground. That's probably the only part of the ground that I look at this game and I say, yeah, that's probably where we're going to be beaten. Obviously, with Pittonet, just want a contest. I want him to compete. If he can somehow pinch a goal or 2 off Max Gawn, that'll help the cause. And we know Levi's going to be there to help out as well. So how do I see the game playing out? What am I looking for? Before coronavirus, we turned the ball over in a way that just baffles me. And Melbourne, when they're up and about, the way I see them play, you turn that ball over, they make you pay. So if we can just look after the ball, play the percentages, if we can play we have this style of play where it's get hit, punch back, and then sort of make a contest of it. The lapse in concentration, if you want to call it, it can't be there. I think Luke Power spoke last week, and he spoke very well out of all the interviews that I've seen. He spoke very well about, what we need to do, and he talked a lot about trying to bridge the gap between our best and our worst. And when we do switch off mentally, that's where teams punish us. It really does. Richmond in round one, it was just unbelievable, and it's something that it has to stop. So there's the lapses in concentration, but also it's been spoken about a lot on this channel, but the 23 tackles that we laid in round one, it cannot be a thing. It cannot be part of any brand of footy that we play forever. That's just unacceptable. Now, you can call Richmond whatever you want. They're a great side, but you need to be able to put pressure on them. And Melbourne are a pretty good side in the contest as well. I'd back in guys like Clayton Oliver to really, challenge Cripps. I think he's going to be in for it. I think he will rise to the occasion, as we all do. But those are some key areas there. The way that we turn the ball over, and just our ability to stay in the contest when things are not going to go our way, which we know that there will be patches where Melbourne get on top of us. How do we counteract that? It's got to be led on the field. It can't be done in the coach's box. Something's got to happen on the field with the players on there for long enough for us to sustain our confidence and I guess just to be accountable to the team, right? So, do I think we'll win? Yes, I think we'll win. MCG, the crowd doesn't bother me. It is what it is. The changes that I think that we'll make are that Harry and Eddie will come in. I think Zach Fisher won't make it. Just trying to read between the lines. I don't think he's going to make it for the game. I feel like he's probably a week or two away still. We know Cruiser is out. We know Pitternet will come in. TDK is obviously hurt as well. And I think, for Eddie to come in, I think someone like maybe a Dow will come out. I thought Cunningham did enough to sort of stay in the side. And the reason why I say that is because he kicked his goals. They both didn't have fantastic performances, but Cunningham did what he needed to do. And he sort of, when you kick those 2 goals, you can have that low possession tally, but you've done your role. So that's how I see it there. I think there'll be the 3 changes, but just beyond relieved to have the footy back. One more thing to celebrate that the season is back. We now have caps. These have arrived. Limited stock is available. I'm putting a message out to the members of the channel. You guys will get first dibs at them. These will be $29.99 each and free shipping for everyone that lives in Australia. If you live outside of Australia, get in touch with me. We will work something out. But yeah, $29.99, free shipping within Australia. But there's only 40 of them, so get in touch with me immediately if you want one. And we will order some more later in the year, but the first 40 will be available to start with. So with that, thank you so much for your support. And goodness me, let's go the Mighty Blues.